Hi, this is Trev. Welcome to my blog. Welcome to part 11 of my Bedford CA van restoration. Thanks very much for the nice emails I've been receiving off various people over the last couple of months. And it has been a while since I've done a blog, and that's for a very good reason. I've been restoring the bodywork, and I like to get things finished to a certain stage before I do another blog, rather than starting something and then finishing it halfway through and everyone's going to get confused as to where I am on this project. This is a live project. This isn't TV, folks, this is live. So thanks very much to those folks anyway, and also a massive thanks to a chap called Steve Gowing. Now, I've worked for Steve for the last year or so in his restoration shop, and he's very kindly offered to let me use some of his facilities at the shop. So thanks very much, Steve, that's most appreciated. Steve does very high-end restoration on quite nice cars, actually, mostly Italian sports cars, so you get the drift. Everything's done to an extremely high standard, so if you've got that Ferrari tucked away somewhere that you would like to have restored, you can contact Steve there on this number. Somebody else I'd like to give a quick mention to as well is John Granger, of course. You can drop me a line if you need any spare parts, and I'll get you in touch with John Granger. If there's something you can't find, he does source things, and he's really sorted me out well on this shell, because he sold me, for the driver's side, he sold me a lamp panel cut off another van, and it was much better than the one I had, and I would have been really lost without it. So you can always contact him through me. I'll pass the details on. He might be able to sort you out. So back to the van. The bodywork restoration. Why did I do the bodywork restoration? Well, I was very keen to get the mechanics finished and the engine up and running. But when I came to install the fuel tank at the back end, I started poking around, and the chassis rail that the shock absorbers mount to was a bit rusty, so I thought I have to do something with that. Then I started having a look at the floor support rails that sit on top of the chassis, and the support rails were completely rusty on the end. So, you know, the chassis is connected to the floor rail's connected to the inner box connected to the quarter panel, all rotten as a pear. So I had rust as far as the eye could see. I thought, well, what is the point of getting all the mechanics finished, everything painted nicely, with the fuel tank in, and then I'm gonna have to start cutting and welding. It's gonna spell disaster. So I decided to restore the shell. I've just done the shell, haven't done the doors, anything that bolts the van I haven't touched, because what's the point? I can get the shell welded up, I can get the mechanics going, then I can address the other parts off the vehicle. It isn't going to interfere with the shell. So here's the shell restoration. I hope you enjoy it. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Who knows? You know, maybe you'll get married, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll get divorced. Maybe you'll dance a funky chicken on your 70th wedding anniversary.
I got a buddy that thinks he's smart, laughs at me when my car won't start. He's got a reason for all his teasing, he's a Volkswagen man. Got a shaggin' Volkswagen man, you ought to see him go. Up beside me in my 409, just like a frog when he comes off the line. Moving and grooving, shagging and dragging, he's a Volkswagen man. Got a shaggin' Volkswagen man, you ought to see him go. Going down down the road about 95. Thought I was the fastest man alive. Looked in the mirror and what did I see? The little Volkswagen was passing me. Shaggin' Volkswagen, man, you ought to see him go.
A couple of people said to me, most notably Mike Allen, aka Mr. Tartaglia, your cross member that the shockers bolt to would probably be rotten. And I had already looked at it and I thought, that looks pretty sound to me. And he said, are you sure? Because they normally rust quite badly. Hey, I've had a good look and yes, I've got rust issues. A couple of other people have also said that it's a bit of a you-know-what to repair. So this is what I've done anyway. The ends were gone. The ends were gone here. Same the other side. So, and the thing is, the whole bar seems to be. It's got. You can't see it on the camera, but it's got a slight curve to it, or it would appear to have. So I've tried to maintain that curve as well. This section actually goes right through the chassis, right through, welded round there, and it is the piece that would go through the chassis. That would sit in there, like that. So the actual end sticks out of the chassis. Bit of a poor design really. Also put this ridiculous hole in there. So all the water that drains out of this goes straight inside the chassis, which I think is a bit crazy, but I'm going to try and keep it as original as possible. I'm not going to pull that hole back in, so at least the water runs back out. But the problem is, it's too long now, so cut this sort of inverted top hat shape out so that I can post it through one end job in the town. Best today. That's the shocker rail part of the chassis with its new top welded on and the new ends welded in as well. Try to keep it as original as possible. Also, the rails that mount the body shell to the chassis, either side of the wheel arch, you see the mounting point there and there. Well, the mounting points on the rear rail completely missing, and there was also a massive hole in the top of the chassis which I've welded at both sides. These are the rails themselves, shot to bits on the end. The rear rail is completely missing on the end, and that's unsalvageable. So I can't really make a complete rail up, so I've decided to repair these, but with quite long repair sections. So I've made these repair sections up. Made these repair sections up to the correct profile. What I intend to do is overlap them slightly. This will help to keep them nice and straight, because butt welding things like this is, I personally find it incredibly hard to get things to stay in a straight line. So I've made these, 4 of these up, drilled the appropriate size. I think I used a 13mm drill. Drilled a hole in it. This needs reinforcing because when you tighten the bolt up, it's just going to crush the rail when you tighten the bolt up. So you can see the strengthening in there. I couldn't replicate this exactly. So what I've done, I've made my closing plate with a 30mm hole in it, I've used a piece of steel electrical conduit pipe, and this is welded it round top and bottom, and then just spot welded it back to the rail. And then this, the idea is this will overlap slightly. We'll see what it turns out like. So I've just trimmed back the rusted end off the rail. I've then shock blasted to death the steel on the end, and I've sprayed a zinc weld through primer on before I overlap my repair section over the top. I've just secured the repair panel with a few spot welds. Make sure first that it's nice and straight. Looks pretty straight to me. I've measured it with a straight edge and it seems pretty good. What I'll end up doing is probably MIG welding around that seam there, both inside and outside. Yes, quite a collection of things falling out. What the hell was that used for? Axle blade. Oh good God, look at it. Happy days. God. Talk about chasing the rot. If I have to chase it any further, I won't have any van left.
You know
That's a job in the town, that is. So here's how a traditional arch panel would have been put together. You've got your outer skin and your inner skin, and then you've got these return lips, and these would be welded together. And then what happens, of course, is you've got an open seam there that just rusts out straight away. So what I've done now, and I incorporate this into all the classic stuff that I work on, is I've borrowed an idea from a modern technique, and nearly all cars, in fact I would say probably all new cars now, utilise this system where you've got the outer skin, you've got the inner skin, and then it's bonded around here. What I'm going to do on this van is I'm going to bond it with some polyurethane adhesive stroke sealer in that little void there, and when I squash the outer panel, this will squeeze up and make a nice bond in that area. I'm also going to put a few spot welds around it as well, just to doubly secure it. And then you can brush some sealer afterwards. You've only got one return lip, and it's extremely hard then for rust to form in this lip. From the outside it looks original, and it's probably just as strong because you've got this polyurethane adhesive that would never have been in there before. And so I believe that this method is far more structurally sound from a corrosion and a strength perspective. Before I weld on my outer skin panels, I've painted all the inner panels with an epoxy based paint. I've got it all seam sealed up yet. I've used a 3M MS sprayable sealer and I've brushed it along the joints. I've also zinc primed all the contact areas that are going to be welded. And the same with the outer panels as well. I'm quite impressed with this product. It seems really tough, like a layer of hard plastic now on top of the paintwork. It's had rave reviews, and because it's epoxy based, it's completely non-porous, which means that no moisture can actually come in contact with the steel. Traditional paint products like single pack primers, even 2-pack primers and fillers are actually porous and absorb moisture, and until you get the top coat on, the steel underneath isn't protected from moisture.
Why we couldn't have possibly known that, because it would only
just in case you thought I'd flipped my lid, I've cut the petrol flap out of the passenger side and moved it to the driver's side because it's going to be a catering van and service will be done from the passenger side, so I don't really want to petrol flap that side of the van. There we have the new rail gripped and tacked into place, and yes, nicely positioned.
I'm nothing other than like a dog without a bone.
I'm just in the process of moving the van to the other side of the garage so I can start the passenger side. Driver's side's all welded up. I've just flashed some 1K etched primer over it just to stop it from, well, try and prevent it from going surface rusty. All this will be sanded off, of course, when I come to paint the vehicle properly. Same story really as the driver's side. Rust in these places. Rear panel, the inner rear's gone around this strengthener. I have to do something with this. This is gone as well. And what I expected with the inner wheel box. I have to fabricate a plate up as well to go behind the inner wheel box because it's pretty right in there as well. But as usual, a couple of inches away it's absolutely solid. So I've left the front wheel arch in for now so I can use that to line up the lower rail. So, same old song really. Sing it. Sing along. Sing along. Song. Well, as far as welding the rust up on the shell is concerned, I'm finally getting around the van. I've got this passenger side quarter panel welded on now, and I've also made up a couple of repair sections for the rear panel which I've got welded in, and I've flashed a coat of primer over the whole lot to stop the surface rust from taking hold. So, what's left on the shell? Well, as far as the shell welding is concerned, we're just on the passenger side front corner, and then the welding on the shell will be pretty much sorted out. This wheel arch, as on the driver's side, is as rotten as a pear, so I'm going to have to chop this lot out, make up a new one and get that welded in. It's gone in the usual place on the rail at the front, so all that'll have to be sorted out as well, and then I can get the sill welded in. Well, that's all folks. I hope you've enjoyed part 11. I believe it encapsulates what you're likely to find on a shell restoration. Catch me in the next part where I'll be doing the catering conversion. Just one last thing before I go. I've just popped the door back on and accidentally put the handle in the wrong position, because normally, of course, it's in the upright position. Something very strange. It's not sliding back anymore.